Hi, and welcome to Music in Children's Development and Learning. This presentation was done by Louis, Dara, Navneet, and myself, Samil. So we began with data collection. So we split this into categories and we went out into the community and gathered all our research. So in relation to musical toys, we went out to our local shopping centres and saw what they had on the shelf for the age groups of 1 and 2 and 4 and 5, and to see how accessible it was to the community, averaging in price. We also did a search on the net on different streaming services such as Spotify and YouTube. We also incorporated social media such as TikTok, as this is a growing concept. There was a lot out there in relation to musical therapists who have their following online. We also compared our 4 early childhood centres. We were really able to see some similarities and some differences in our approaches to music. We opened it up to our families and our educators who shared with us how music is used in their household or their rooms, or what music is used for. For example, our 4-year-old ECT Tao says that music is fundamentally used for routine transitions to bring children into group time to explore their autonomy. And then parents had shared that they're teaching their children to play musical instruments, or they're working with their children's emotional regulation and find that music supports this development. Throughout this investigation, we looked at the age groups of 1 to 2 years and 4 to 5 years. So in our research, we were able to identify some similarities, which that both age groups have songs targeted in relation to social emotional development, physical movement, and mindfulness. A few of the differences were in comparison to their action songs. So for example, in the 1 to 2 age range, most of the action songs are repetition of the same action and slowed down. So for this presentation, I have used the example of Wheels on the Bus, but this is also open to open shut them, and if you're happy and you know it. When you look at the 4 to 5 age groups, their action songs are a little bit more sped up, have more than one action going, or list the actions one after the other instead of slowing it down, as we saw with the 1 to 2 age group. So for this example, we've used Wombat Wobble and Tootie Ta, which both are a process of saying the action once and then moving on to the next one, and then at different stages of the song, they might speed up, they might slow down, or they might tell you the new action after repeating the old one, and then it becomes a little build-up of an action song.
In this session, I will discuss the physical and cognitive theories of development according to Piaget, Vygotsky, and other psychologists, along with its implications for teachers or educators, particularly in the context of teaching music to the young learners. Firstly, let's consider Piaget's theory of cognitive development. Piaget proposed that children progress through 4 stages of cognitive development, which is sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational. The first one is in the sensory motor stage, which is birth to 2 years. Infant learns through sensory experiences and gradually develop objects permanence. The pre-operational stage, which is 2 to 7 years, is characterized by ego-certainism, symbolic thinking, and the use of language. In the concrete operational stage, which is 7 to 11 years, the children begin to think logically and concrete about the concrete events and learn and understand the conversations. Finally, the formal operational stage, which is adolescence to adulthood involves abstract thinking and hypothetical reasoning. For 2 years old, who are typically in the sensory motor stage, Piaget suggests that they learn through sensory explorations and motor activities. When teaching music to this stage group, educators can provide opportunities for hand-on experiences with the musical instruments such as drum shakers and saxophones, and through exploring different sounds and textures, 2 years old can develop their sensory abilities and motor skills while also beginning to understand basic music concepts like rhythms and pitch. As children reach 4 to 5 years old and transitioning into the later stages of pre-operational stage, they become more capable of symbolic thought and imaginative play. Teachers or educators can incorporate more structured musical activities like singing songs with repeatedly lyrics and movements, playing simple musical games, and introducing basic musical notations by engaging in these activities for 4 to 5 years old. Further develop their language skills, memory, and ability to think symbolically. Vygotsky's socioculture theory emphasizes the role of social interactions and cultural context in cognitive development. He introduced the concept of the zone of proximal development, which is the gap between what a learner can do independently and what they can achieve with assistance. Vygotsky highlighted the importance of scaffolding, where a more knowledgeable other, such as a teacher, educator, or peer, support the learner's development. When introducing music to 2 years old, Vygotsky's theory suggests creating an environment where children engage in social music making activities, encouraging group singing, simple instrument exploration, and interactive music games to promote social interactions and collaborative learning. For 4 to 5 years old, Vygotsky's theory guides educators to facilitate more complex music experiences that encourage collaboration and creativity. Activities such as ensemble playing, musical storytelling, and cultural exploration of music can enhance cognitive and social development. Kohlberg's theory of moral development suggests that music can contribute to the development of empathy and emotional intelligence as children engage with songs that evoke deep emotions and meaningful discussions about the human experiences. And lastly, Bronfenbrenner's ecological system theory highlights the influence of the environment on the children's development. By involving families, communities, and cultural traditions in music education, we can enrich children's musical experience and foster a sense of connection to their surroundings.
I explored behaviorist views. So for this, I began with Aristotle, which was contiguity. So this is essentially when two or more sensations occur together, they become associated, which is called the stimulus. So for this, I used the example of the videos on the right. So in these videos, you will see how the motion of pressing a button or scratching a disc causes sounds or beats. This action becomes associated with sounds. When the music stops, the children will repeat the motion to cause the music to start. So if you see in the video, the child engaging with the piano, it has his hand over the button because he has associated that pressing this button will cause music. The video below shows the scratching of a disc. This creates this intricate sound. The repetition of the scratch continues to create the sound. Next we have classical conditioning by Pavlov. And he explored that learning of involuntary or psychological responses such as fear, these are called respondents. So this is an automatic response to a stimulus. And a stimulus is a sensation that occurs and may remind us of a situation or a memory, etc. So for this example, I've used an experience that was done with the children. So this set experience was the children having the freedom to manipulate pots and pans and bells, whether they were mounted on the wall or on the floor. The children were banging them together, making different intricate sounds, whether they were louder, quieter, etc. So during this experience, a child became visibly upset. They began to sweat. Fear was evident on their face. They then retreated to their safe space, which was a lot further away and in kind of a dark space. So when the educator approached, the child immediately shared, "Dropping pots and pans is not good, my mummy says." So this brings us to classical conditioning, where this one specific sound, so this one specific stimulus, became a respondent. So this child was respondent to this sound due to potentially something that may have happened at home, where the child may have dropped something and then gotten in trouble for it. We then come to Skinner with operant conditioning. So Skinner partially agreed with Pavlov, however argued classical conditioning only accounts for a small portion of learned behavior. This doesn't explain new operant behavior that arises as we operate in our environment. So for this example, I have used a video of this child who proceeds to pull some foil to add to their makeshift drum set. The foil rips and the child proceeds to grab another piece.
Maybe you can just use those pieces on the floor.
But I want the whole thing.
How's that sound?
Sounds like a round. Look. Sounds the same.
It was then suggested to this child to place it on the floor, as it still could be incorporated into making sounds. It's just going to be used differently.